Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my story time of how I found out I was pregnant. So I'm just getting to it. At first, nothing was wrong with me. I had no suspicions whatsoever, wasn't even trying, but at the same time wasn't doing anything to prevent it. You should also know that I live with my boyfriend and just moved in with him December. I think the day before Christmas, actually, Christmas Eve. I don't know, it was somewhere around that. So I was living with my boyfriend, and we weren't doing anything to not prevent it. Nothing really. It was just living. There was nothing for us. I don't know what to say. We really wasn't doing anything to prevent it. Boom. So I guess around the time that, I don't know. I really don't know where to start because everything happened so fast for me. I just remember, I guess I could say it started one day we went to Whataburger. That's where I feel like the main point of the story is. We went to Whataburger, got some food to go, got a milkshake, got a patty melt. That's not important, but I remember drinking the milkshake, and all of a sudden I just got in the worst health. I was throwing up, and TMI trigger, I had diarrhea all at the same time, and it was just it could have been the milkshake that actually made me sick, or it could have been the burger that made me sick, but that's what I blamed it on. This was about a week or two before my birthday. My birthday's on February 12th. So yeah, I was sick from the milkshake or whatever did make me sick. I was sick from that, but I really didn't pay any attention because I feel like after probably about 2 hours or so, I was good. Went outside, smoked a blunt or whatever, and so it was I was just having just chilling that night. And so that's a little background. But where I started noticing, all of a sudden, the app was okay, your period's coming up in a couple of weeks. Your period's due next week. You're gonna start your period. So I'm preparing for that. Oh Jesus, and you know the fear that you get when you know your period is about to start. Not necessarily fear, but how the annoyance. So I was getting annoyed that my period is about to start the next week or so. But so I didn't pay any attention to it. Everything was still normal for me until I want to say I started experiencing symptoms. So my breasts and nipples were getting really sore and really tender, but that's normal for me. That's a period symptom of mine. Every month that would happen to me, so that really didn't raise any red flags. Then nothing really screamed out to me something's wrong, because I was having normal symptoms that I have every month. I was cramping. They weren't they were just regular menstrual cramps. That's how they felt to me. My boobs are sore, tender. I did feel a little nauseous sometimes, but it was nothing too serious. It'll be today I'm feeling queasy, and I feel like I want to throw up, but nothing screamed out to me hey, you sick, because I never really threw up. I never vomited or anything. People usually say that's one of the first symptoms that you know you're pregnant, but I never had that, so it wasn't a red flag for me. So after that, so the next week came, and the day that the app said that my period's about to start, it didn't start. I got a little spotting though, but it didn't do anything. I spotted for a few, and then that was it. But I was okay, maybe being pregnant was the least of my worries. That was not even in the back of my head. I was okay, maybe the app is wrong. Like, I knew it wasn't, but I was like, maybe the app is wrong. Maybe it's gonna start tomorrow, or it's gonna start while I'm sleeping or something like that. So never started. And then like but I was still cramping. I was still feeling nauseous. I was still like tender up in the chest area and stuff like that, but it never started. Like, we'll go to people's houses. Me and my boyfriend will go to his friends' houses and we'll chill. We'll do whatever. But like, I always be cramping, and I was just looking for basically I spent that whole week looking for my period to start, but it never did. And so that's towards the end of February. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. So basically for about 2 or so weeks, like, my birthday passed already, because this is all during my birthday time, plus after, a little bit after, a week or so after my birthday. And like, nothing really screamed red flags for me until, because I don't know, because like when my birthday came, I don't even remember like being scared I was pregnant. Like, I was still waiting on my period, but it wasn't even due to start yet. So I was just living my best life for my birthday, basically. And so what prompted me to like actually start thinking, okay, maybe I am, is because one, when I realized that my period wasn't coming, I was like, oh snap. Then I was like, okay, I haven't been taking birth control. Then the Ovia app tells you when you're most fertile and like what week you're ovulating and stuff like that. So I went back, looked on the app, and lo and behold, the day that me and my boyfriend had did something, or that week, that was one of my fertile weeks and stuff. So I was like, okay, but like I was still in denial. Like, that don't mean anything. Like, you know, like, it's just an app. Like, an app can't tell. Now it's just an app. Like, an app can't tell me nothing. And so, because I don't feel pregnant, and like, I know a lot of people say, oh, they just knew. Well, that wasn't the case for me. So that's when it started, like, the days turned into like a weird vibe for me, because like, I talk on the phone with my family, and I remember specifically my aunt, she had commented about how she was having dreams about someone being pregnant, and I was like, oh, don't bring that energy over here. Like, I don't know who you're dreaming about, but it's not me. So that's when like that conversation ended. And then like, I texted my cousin. I was like, okay, there is a possibility that I can be, but I don't want to speak on it, you know. Like, I didn't want to get all riled up and stressed out over nothing, because at the end of because still in the back of my head, I really didn't think like, yeah, that's the case, like, this is the problem. Because I don't know, sometimes when our periods get out of whack, like, they'll become irregular for a couple months, then they'll be back regular for a couple months, then they'll be irregular. So I really, nothing like threw red flags at me until like one day. It was just, I don't know, it all happened so fast, but the way I'm describing it is like it took forever. But like one day, I was just sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden, like, I don't know, like something happened in my head, and it was just like, yeah, you're pregnant. I was like, I just felt like it was me overthinking, because I do have anxiety and I do tend to overthink about a lot of stuff. So that was just like, it was a voice in my head that said, yeah, this is it. So it was kind of like a realization, and that got me to stressing even more. So I was like, okay, all this stressing, that's what's causing my period to be like, this cannot be, like, no, I'm in denial. I'm not pregnant. This is not, I don't know what that little voice was saying. It's just me overthinking. Like, I need to calm down and stuff, because this is not it. Like, I'm only 19. Like, I'm not ready. I'm not. And so yeah, after I had like that little moment with myself, I got a little emotional, started tearing up. I didn't cry, almost, but I didn't want to because like I'm around other people. Like I don't want to cause a scene. Like yeah. So I don't know. So I'll say a day later or so, I'm laying in the bed and I started Googling like places I can take a free pregnancy test because I never did go to the store and buy one. I just wanted to go ahead and get like a definite yes or no answer. So I started Googling places I can take a test and this clinic popped up called Life Choices. And so I made an appointment there and they scheduled one for me February 25th. So February 25th came. Between me setting the appointment and the appointment day, my family was like all the old people of my family, because my family is very superstitious. They were dropping little comments in my ear. Oh, I feel this. I'm sensing this. I'm dreaming about this, and I'm like, ugh. And like my cousin that I'm close to, I was telling her like, okay, like all this stuff is making me worry. Like everything is making me worry. It's so overwhelming. Like retelling the story, I'm all over the place because I don't remember how I was feeling because everything happened so fast and it was like a blink of the eye. But fast forward to the doctor's appointment, February 25th. When I say I was so nervous, like me and my boyfriend, like we were so nervous. Like I don't know how, like I don't know if he felt like I was pregnant or like what was going through his mind at the time, but I know I was a wreck mentally. I was just trying to compose myself. Like we'll have conversations like, oh my god, like what if I am, or I feel like I'm just wasting time, like wasting the doctor's appointment, like I don't need this. But I end up going, and so we go into the building and they were just the nicest people. Go into the building, sign in for the appointment, and then just waiting. Until finally they called me back, gave me a cup to pee in, and I didn't even have to pee, and I was like so scared. Like I was like, oh my god, I couldn't even unzip my pants. My hands were shaking so much. So I finally, peed in the cup, gave the cup back, and then they took me back to this little room. It was like a room with like, I don't know, it was a cozy little room. It had like a couch and a center table. It was basically like a waiting room in the back. It had like it had a soft couch, 2 little chairs, center table, book, and a TV or whatever. So I'm sitting back there by myself. My boyfriend's still in the waiting room or whatever. All I hear is the clock ticking. That's all I could focus on. My cousin was texting me. I'm texting her like, okay, I peed. Like I'm waiting on the results, and it felt like I was back there for like years until until that's when I heard footsteps outside of the door. And I'm like, okay, they're standing out. Like I knew they were standing outside of the room that I was in. So they were standing out there. Like I heard the footsteps up to the door, and then they stopped. And I heard papers rustling and stuff like that. Like I heard them flipping papers and stuff. And that's when the door handle turned, and they walked in. And so they were all smiling. So I didn't know, are they smiling because it's what you're supposed to do? And like they're just smiling, or are they smiling because I'm not pregnant, or are they smiling because I'm pregnant? Like somebody tell me something. And that's when she handed me a Ziploc bag, and it was a pregnancy test in it. And she said, congratulations. I was like, I didn't know what to think. I was like, oh, congratulations, what? She handed me the test, and it had 2 lines, and it said, you're pregnant. And I was like, oh my god. And that's when she had, in her scrubs pocket, she pulled out a bottle of prenatal vitamins and handed them to me. And then they handed me this folder that had information about being pregnant, information about like abortions if I was considering. First they asked me if I wanted an abortion, but I said no because personally I've never, personally, I don't think I could ever go through with that, whether I wanted a child or not, but I just didn't think I could ever go through it. So I said no. They asked me about, like, am I gonna, like, they basically try to, comfort me and stuff like that. They handed me a packet, information packets and stuff like that. They handed me brochures and booklets and a book that told me, like, stages of pregnancy. Like, it all happened so fast, and I wasn't even listening to them talking. I'm just sitting here with a pregnancy test in my hand, a bottle of prenatals, and a big old packet on my lap, and I'm just sitting here repeating in my head, oh my God, I'm pregnant. Oh my God, I'm pregnant. Like, this cannot be real. And then that's when the doctor asked me, are you ready to tell your boyfriend? And I was like, I couldn't even talk because I didn't even know what to do. Like, I'm crying. I don't know. I don't even know if I was crying, like, why I was crying. I don't know if I was crying because I'm happy. Don't know if I was crying if I was sad. I didn't know if I was crying because I was scared. Like, I was feeling everything at the same time, and I was like, I can't even talk. And do you want us to tell him? Yes, you tell him. You tell him. So they brought him in the back, in the room where I was, and that's when I just seen his face, and, like, he looked completely lost. Like, he did not know what was going on. He just was like, I could tell he was nervous, but, like, at the same time, he still looked lost to me, and I didn't know what he was thinking, because I'm sitting here looking a hot mess. Like, I was a wreck. Like, I'm crying. I had wiped my tears, like, trying to compose myself before he got back there, but I can tell that I looked a mess. I looked a wreck, and I didn't know what he was thinking. So that's when I looked at him, and that's when the nurse or doctor told him she's pregnant. And then he was just taken back. He was like, whoa. And, like, we were both just sitting there, like, I didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. They were talking to us, but we weren't listening. Like, we were both in our own heads. And so that's when we went to the front, and she was like, okay, we're going to schedule you an ultrasound for confirmation to make sure. So I was like, okay, and I just text my cousin. I was like, okay, yes, it came back positive. I'm pregnant. She was excited, but I was still, like, stunned or shocked. Like, I was happy, but I wasn't. It was like I was scared to be happy, if that made sense. Like, I didn't know how I felt. Like, I was happy that I wasn't going crazy, because I know my body. I really do. But I was happy that I wasn't going crazy and my body wasn't just out of whack. But at the same time, I was scared because, like, okay, I'm pregnant. Like, so, that's when the ultrasound came. So, we scheduled the ultrasound appointment. Get to the ultrasound, because between that appointment, like, after that appointment, I knew I took the test, it came back positive, but it still wasn't real to me. Like, nah, this can't be right. Like, no. Like, I have no, like, symptoms. I was still cramping, but I was still hoping, like, not hoping that the pregnancy would end, but I was still hoping, like, I would get my period. So I can just be like, no, the test was wrong, it was a mistake. I was still hoping that I would get my period. I was still looking for my period. But then the ultrasound appointment came. And that's when I seen, like, the baby for the first time. And it took out, like, I'm not supposed to cry. Like, I don't know, seeing that ultrasound and seeing, like, the heartbeat. Like, it already has a heartbeat. I'm just finding out. I think when I found out, I was, like, 6 or 8 weeks. I have no clue how far I was. But it was just, like, how do you already have a heartbeat already? And it looked like a little, I don't know, I'll put the ultrasound picture right here, but it was just weird to me. Like, that's inside of me. It was, like, there's a human being growing inside of me right now, and I'm just a mess through the ultrasound. Like, I'm crying throughout the ultrasound, and, like, she's talking to me, she was like, okay, well, yep, it's confirmed. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, what I'm gonna do? They printed out the ultrasounds, gave it to me, and we went on our happy little way. And it was just so surreal because like I'm one of those people who would never thought that I would ever get pregnant. Like I didn't want kids. I never wanted kids, and now I'm sitting here laying on a bed with like I'm sitting over here. I got ultrasounds in my hand now. Like there's a whole baby growing inside of me. I don't know how to feel. Like what do I do? Like I didn't know. So I don't know. So after I found out, it was time for me to tell my family. And like I just had to get the news out. Like I just wanted to tell everybody. So I told my grandma. And she wasn't surprised. She was just like, oh, I kind of sensed it already. I kind of knew. And I was like, oh. So like when I was telling my family, they were surprised, but they weren't surprised. They were all just like, see, I told you. Because I was the one, no, I'm never getting pregnant. I'm never having kids. Like, nope. And so I told them, they were all like, I told you so. Da-da-da this, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it took me a long time to get used to the fact that I'm pregnant, and it just took a long time for it to sink in. But that was the story on how I'm still pregnant now. But that was the story on how I found out that I was pregnant and like sort of my reaction. But like if you I still don't know what to say. Like retelling the story just woken up all the emotions that I'm feeling right now. I'm stumbling over my words. Sorry for that. Bear with me. But yeah. So that was my story time about how I found out I got pregnant. Telling everybody like my experience, and I would love to hear your story. So comment a short version of like how you found out in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I don't know, it's just crazy, you know. But thank you guys for watching, and